Hey everybody, my name is Elver Mikanovich. I'm a 17-year-old senior at Senn High School in Chicago. I'm also a student journalist at the Rogers Reporter. I live in the Rogers Park neighborhood and I love this city. This summer, I traveled to Bosnia, where my parents are from. When I told my editor I would be there for a month, he suggested I produce a documentary looking at the differences between Bosnia and Chicago. I've been in Bosnia before as a small child, but now that I'm older, I've gotten more interested in the history of my ancestral homeland. So that's what this is about. I hope you like it.
My journey begins with not me at all. Rather, it begins with my parents' early life in Bosnia and the ultimate decision to travel to the United States of America. But before we get into it, let's go over the facts. Yugoslavia was originally a sovereign state that reigned from 1918 to 1941. During World War II, it was invaded by the Axis powers, and after the war, it became a communist state that was eventually dismantled in 1992 when citizens of Bosnia and Herzegovina voted for independence. Independence was strongly supported by Bosnians and Bosnian Croats, while Bosnian Serbs, except for those in larger cities, boycotted it but were barred from voting. The total turnout of voters was 63.6%, of which 99.7% voted for the independence of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia celebrated its first Independence Day on March 1st, 1992. A little more than a month later, on April 6, 1992, a brutal ethnic war started that lasted more than 3 years. The United States Holocaust Memorial Museum website was quoted stating, "In July 1995, Bosnian Serb forces killed as many as 8,000 Bosnian men and boys from the town of Srebrenica. It was the largest massacre in Europe since the Holocaust. The war led to the death of 100,000 people and the displacement of 2.2 million others. Among them was my mother, Ozimina Mikanovich, who, along with her entire family and city of Velika Kladuša, evacuated to different areas all across the world with the hopes of safety and prosperity in the near future. She was a refugee in Turan, Croatia in 1994 for 3 months, then immigrated to Kopljansko, Croatia until 1995. She touched on the topic of her living conditions while seeking refuge until the war ended. I lived in a barn for most of my time. We slept on the floor and occasionally got new clothes every once in a while. We showered with a hose outside and the weather conditions were rough. Once the war ended, Zemina Mikanovich moved back to her city of Velika Kladuša until she came to the realization that jobs were near non-existent and got the opportunity to move to the United States. She originally landed in San Francisco, California, then came to the realization that the cost of living there was too high for an American refugee without any English language comprehension whatsoever. She decided to move to Chicago in the early 2000s. Once here, she met my dad, also a Bosnian refugee, and they married and started a family. Decades later, she explains how thankful she is to be able to live in America after all this time. I love living in America. I got a chance to find a job a lot faster and a lot easier than if I stayed in Bosnia. I'm really thankful for moving to America when I got the chance. I want to stay here. I'm now a 17-year-old born and raised in Chicago all my life. I visit Bosnia every couple of years over the summer, and as much as I love visiting Bosnia, I'm very happy and very fortunate to be able to live in a first world country like the US. Moving forward, I plan on continuing the tradition of visiting Bosnia for its beautiful landscapes and rich history, but I definitely plan on continuing to live in the United States for the foreseeable future.